What's up, tutorial heads? Today we're going to talk about the mind's eye. That's right. Drawing is overrated. So the mind's eye, in case you don't know what that is, or if you've always heard this term, the mind's eye, what do you see in your mind's eye? And you've always thought like, what the man, I can't see anything in my mind's eye. Like I just, if you don't have any like sight in your mind, like if you can't see pictures or images in your mind, then this means you have something called aphantasia. Now that's where you literally can't see in your mind's eye. It's like having blindness of the mind's eye. If you do have this condition, it means basically that you always need to use references. Just to preface this video, I wanted to let that be known. So seeing, how do you see with the mind's eye? So basically, every time you draw, even if it's a bad drawing, you are using this sort of perception of the mind's eye, whether you see it literally or not. So you can't draw without observing, right? You can't draw without perceiving what it is you're drawing in some way. So basically, like what a child sees when a child draws, see, the child gets like the bigger picture because they're not like tainted by all this dialogue, language, sort of driven thought. So they have more of like a clear view of the big picture. So like you might notice in children's drawings, you'll see a lot more composition. You'll see stuff like the kids never forget to draw the doorknob. The kids never forget to draw the window. The kids never forget to draw the plant in the window. They draw the whole house. They draw the tree. They draw the whole yard. They draw the street. They draw everything. Like they kind of have more unfiltered by like this sort of language driven thought that adults tend to use. So what does the beginner see, right? Like the beginner sees very rudimentary. It's very when you're drawing as a beginner, you might like struggle to like copy things. Like say you see a hand and you're trying to copy a hand from reference and it comes out looking really bad. Well, that's because you haven't developed your ability to sort of see and perceive and feel the forms of the hand, or break it down into shapes. You sort of can't really see those shapes in your mind, or you can't really perceive them or feel them as easily as a more experienced artist. So what does a more experienced artist see is they sort of have broken down this sort of barrier that beginner artists sort of have that keeps them from being able to copy a hand, for example, from reference. As an experienced artist, you sort of can like break down those forms and see those forms. And this is a very important skill. I think it's often overlooked. A lot of artists tend to focus way too much on like being able to draw your very advanced stickman, but you don't try to visualize like the form and the gesture of the stickman and make a really good stickman. So you like really struggle to make your stickman, for example. And I see this happen a lot with a lot of artists as they kind of forget that perception is a skill that like you need to put all your points in. That's something that's often overlooked. So how does it help? So you copy what you see, right? Like if you copy what you see, you're not just copying what you see, you're kind of copying what you feel. And when you make mistakes copying something, whether it's from imagination, you're copying from imagination, or it's from reference, or you're tracing something, maybe you trace something badly. Even some people trace stuff and they trace stuff badly, they make mistakes. Like I see that, and it's because like they don't see the form when they're tracing or copying or drawing from imagination. If it comes out bad, it means that the form was sort of filled in by empty information that doesn't exist in the brain. So it kind of closes those gaps, and that's how those gaps where the form and the perception and the sight, the mind's eye hasn't fully grasped the object they're drawing. So that's why it would come out bad. That's why mistakes happen. So if you can observe and you can perceive the item object you're drawing, then you can pretty easily reconstruct it and turn it into a drawing. This especially in 3D space and especially in motion. So tips, I would say like learn to see what's really there. Like when you're looking at a reference, you're looking at shapes. You're not just looking at the idea, the words that describe it aren't important. It's the feelings of the forms. Like you want to like sort of be one with the forms, be one with the reference. Like you kind of, the more you kind of try to think and like force it into words and like force an explanation of what it is you're seeing, the more like you sort of think about it logically, like the more mistakes you're gonna make, I think, unless it's something really like a machine like a spaceship or something. And even then you want to kind of of sort of feel the form. You don't want to describe it. You want to feel it, or you want to see it. You want to perceive it. It's like feeling. You're kind of feeling around. When you draw, you're kind of feeling, where does that line go? You know in your feelings like where it's going to go if you're experienced. And so when you're drawing from reference, especially, like, you can kind of feel the form and you can kind of copy it better. And then if you're drawing from imagination, then you can kind of see and feel the form that's in your mind, and you can kind of copy that from your mind more accurately. So it helps all around. Building up the seeing skill. So you want to build up the perception skill. Like I said, you want to put all your points into perception. Like it's an MMORPG, you're putting all your points into perception, all your talent points, and you'll actually really excel in this field. So note to aphantasia people. If you have aphantasia, if you are one of these people, you just absolutely cannot see anything in your mind's eye. It's just blackness when you close your eyes and there's just nothing. And a lot of these folks, they don't really have dreams, or if they do, they don't remember them. So if you're one of these folks, you want to definitely always use reference. There's no shame in using references. If you have aphantasia, it's just like me. I have schizophrenia, so I take antipsychotics. There's no shame in me taking antipsychotics, just like there's no shame in you using reference. And I don't think reference is ever anything to be ashamed of. Even if you do or don't have aphantasia, like, reference can be very helpful. As long as you're not just like tracing someone else's work and claiming you made it, like it's completely acceptable to use reference. So yeah, like just building up the ability to see, the ability to perceive, like I said, putting all your points into perception. Like this is why I don't know if you noticed, but PewDiePie, the YouTuber, he did a 365 days just drawing 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day. I know for a fact that later on, the more he did it, the more he would spend probably a lot more than 10 minutes on each piece, but that just will come naturally if you really enjoy something. But I'm going off on a tangent here. Basically, he really improved his ability to see. Not just draw, like he really focused in on the face, right? And he focused in on the eyes, and he really focused in on what he was drawing, like the face, like the anime girl face, and just drew a bunch of that and just really put all his points into being able to perceive an anime girl face. So being able to see the anime girl face, like to feel the anime girl face while you're drawing it, that's very important. If you want to draw anime girl faces at a competent level. I think that's something a lot of people overlook, is he really learned how to see. He didn't just learn how to draw, he really learned how to see. And I think that's something we could all try to put our points into, if improving is something you want to do, then yeah, definitely you want to learn how to see. So yeah, just look at it. They'll probably let you off if you tell them to just look at it. All right, later, peace.